Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Maconi Setup Shop A-Fix tutorials. Today we're going to look at the Atlanta Superspeedway. This is going to be a rather short video as there's not a whole lot to discuss in the race, but we will get into some race tips. In the meantime, we're going to try to focus on the fastest way to qualify, because starting up front is going to be very important not only for track position, hopefully it'll help you miss the wrecks that are bound to happen, as well as being in a good position for the end of the race if it's too difficult to pass because the lines are so even. First thing I'm going to talk about is the wall proximity. These first two runs, you're going to see the difference between being too close to the wall on your warm-up lap and being in the correct position where you want to be on your warm-up lap. Unfortunately, being too close to the wall kind of holds you back on speed. If you look at the bottom left of the screen throughout this video, you'll see my speed in miles per hour, and you'll notice a difference on the getting up to speed lap as well as the money lap when you are too close to the wall and when you're just far enough away that you're not getting the effect. Another thing for qualifying is you will see my line through the tri-oval. You're more than welcome to do whatever you want to do through the tri-oval. I'm just showing you what I think is the fastest for me, as well as what I find to be the smoothest to allow me to be consistent without losing too much time. Just like we talked about in the Chicago Street Course video, anytime you're going over bumps in this race car, it's going to slow you down. A lot of it has to do with the underbody, and when you're trying to qualify at a super speedway, every thousandth counts, so you're going to want to try to avoid those major bumps. And at the end of all of my laps, I kind of run through the bumps a little bit at the end of the lap so that you can see just how bumpy it is and get a visual for how much speed you're going to lose. This run in particular, my warm-up lap, I'm not going to be as close to the wall as I was. I try to keep it on this black seam, and when we switch over to the in-car for this final run, you'll see where I reference this black line through my windshield. This is where you want to stay. Anything farther to the right, and you're going to get some of that effect from the wall. This line in particular allows you to build as much speed and momentum as possible without having the effects of the wall proximity slow you down. So again, these first two runs here is both fourth gear, and this is just the difference between being too close to the wall on your warm-up lap and how much time it can cost you versus being down the racetrack a little bit. Another thing I want to go over with you guys is the importance of being smooth with the steering wheel. When you're qualifying at a super speedway like this, it's very easy to be wheel happy, and that means putting a lot of motion and movement in the wheel. Very, very important to keep the wheel as smooth and steady as possible to keep as much speed in the car as you can, because the more you're playing with the wheel, the more the front tires are moving and the more speed you're going to scrub. This third run is fifth gear. You can hear I just shifted into fifth going into turn 3, and this is going to be another lap of being really close to the wall. So this will be a difference between fifth gear wall proximity as opposed to where you want to be on the racetrack. And again, the final run, I will put it in the in-car for you guys so you can get a better visual of what you want it to look like from your POV when you're on the racetrack as well. As you can see, another thing you might notice that I'm doing. Some people have the idea that you want to wrap the line on your qualifying lap. In theory, it kind of makes sense because you're taking the shortest way around the racetrack, but you're also using a lot more wheel input, and the more wheel input you have is going to slow you down. That's why you'll see I like to come off this line on exit and let the car taper out. It makes the straightaway longer, which allows you to carry a lot more speed as well. So without further ado, we're going to watch this lap from the in-car. One thing I want to touch on, when you are qualifying, it's important to get to this transition of the apron as quick as you can because it has the most banking, and as you can see, you can hold the gas wide open getting up to speed, which is crucial for your momentum. Okay guys, there you have it. That was my fastest qualifying lap. Hopefully that's something that you guys can replicate in your races and help you start up front. One thing that I want to go over for the race is the brake settings. As you might notice, it's the same brake settings that I used at Chicago. The reason for that is I like to have a trustworthy brake package. If there's a wreck that you need to slow down for, you know that you have the same brakes that you're used to and you're comfortable with for slowing down. Last thing you want is to have a different brake package just because it's a super speedway race, have to slow down for a wreck, and either lock up your tires or not have enough stopping power and get into the guy in front of you. So again, shorter video today covering Atlanta. I do have the New Hampshire video ready for next week as well, which will be more in depth. So if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so that you'll be the first one to see it. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below and we'll try our best to answer it. And if you find that this video was helpful for you, please leave a like. Best of luck, and we'll see you out on the racetrack.